So I'm too stubborn to give up. Obviously the power steering wasn't working, and I needed a few days to cool off a little, but I've talked to a few folks. They give me some ideas. So we're gonna take it apart, and we're gonna eliminate all the things that it could be one by one. And with any luck, we'll be able to steer with one finger.
I shall finish the game, Doc.
Okay, we're in troubleshooting mode now. So I thought, well, let's check to make sure that this gear is actually turning. Now I can't turn it by hand, so it leads me to believe it's not stripped out. But what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna take a quick little video here, and I'll turn the truck on and then turn it off, and we'll see if it's spinning, because I want to at least determine if this impeller is spinning, because we're trying to work our way backwards to figure this out. So with that, we'll go ahead and start the truck, and hopefully not too much oil comes out of there. Okay, so that determined that this gear is turning. So that's good, because that had me somewhat worried that there might have been something buggered in there. So at least it's turning this shaft. Now, as I mentioned before, what I did was I took this apart and gave the diverter plate a 180. So now I'm going to go back to the way it was, and we'll see if that does it. I'm draining the fluid right now. I'm also planning on, the thing that I didn't touch before is this filter. So we're going to take that canister off of there, completely clean that out in case there's something plugged. And then we'll flip that diverter plate, we'll slap it all back together, and then we're going to do a real thorough bleeding process to make sure that there's no air in the system. And I don't know, fingers crossed we get some power steering. Okay, take this guy apart again and flip that plate around. Right. So that's the plate there, and in one position it'll send the flow out with a clockwise rotation, and then if you flip it around, there's kind of little ports there that send it the other way. So now we just gotta raise it off of these pins. The fact that this pump was full of oil leads me to believe that it wasn't airlocked. So there you can just see the various ports. So that came off like that. Now theoretically, he said if you turn it 180, it goes the other way, but I can't see how that would work though, because these ports, I don't know how that would make a difference, because it looks symmetrical. Huh. That's what he told me. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I don't want to take that off. Get it back in there. Yeah, there's no difference if it's this way or if it's this way. Well, now, did he mean the wheel? Maybe this needs to be flipped 180, because now the oval goes this way. See, that does seem to make a difference if you flip this plate over. So that's the way it was, and the oval goes that way. And that's the way we'll try. Well, that's not what I flipped last time, so maybe this is the ticket. I just gave this guy a flip, a 180 turn. Well, I don't think that makes a difference. Okay, well maybe this is our secret sauce. Maybe this is what the problem was now. And if that plate thought it was going clockwise and they flipped it backwards, that would be explain why we've got zero oil pressure out of this pump. So I better put you on one. I don't want to over tighten. All right, fingers crossed. This might be what it needs. We might get lucky. All right, clean this up and put it back on the truck. Okay, so now we're gonna take this old school filter out of here and give it a good cleaning. Make sure nothing's plugged in there. So this is a canister filter, same as the primary fuel filter down there. Okay, I'm pretty sure I put a new one in here a couple years ago, so it shouldn't be that bad. Okay. There it goes. Yeah, it looks okay. Maybe we'll dump this out and see if there's any particulate at the bottom, but it looks good. I mean, it probably could be replaced, but it doesn't look plugged. So maybe we'll blow it out a little bit, clean this up, whoop, and then put her back in place. All right, I got it all buttoned up. Let's add oil for hopefully the last time. I got all the lines connected and topped up with oil. So let's give her a go. When I bring it all the way over, it's got a real smooth feel to it now. When you get all the way to the end and I hold it there, you can hear the motor load up. That's a good sign that we've got hydraulic pressure. We may have just fixed this. All right, let's get that drag link on and test her out for sure. All right, this is it. Please, please, please. Oh yeah, we have power steering. Yes! Oh, what a treat. See folks, never give up.
I am too smart. I am too smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
So now that I got the pump on there, I don't like the blue. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And if I was a little smarter, I probably would have painted this when it was on the bench, but since it's in place now, I don't really want to take it off of there, so we'll just leave it in place. I did my tinfoil trick, and we'll just we'll put some cat yellow on there, so make it look pretty. So I figured I'd swap out this old Donaldson fuel filter for a proper cat one. And there goes all my prime. Just because I got overspray on it, and this old girl deserves proper Caterpillar parts. Proper cat fuel filter. Now we'll put a little bit on the seal there so it doesn't seize on. Oh, that looks much better. I think the rule is one full turn once you get it to contact. So we're at number 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, almost there. There, that's pretty tight. Okay, so now we gotta prime this up. That's pretty straightforward. Just open the lead screw to let the air out. And then this is just a plunger style system. Oh, it's cold today. When is winter gonna end? Okay, so we'll prime this guy up. There we go, something like that. Okay. I'm not sure if the Cummins has this type of system on it. I don't think it does. So when I put those polished fuel tanks on there, it might be a bit of a job to get her to go. We'll worry about that later. Okay, let's see if we can get this one started. All right, so what I'm going to try and do now is adjust the poppets.
Hello, Poppy.
They're in the newer steering boxes, I guess they're automatic, but in these old ones, they're manual.
With the poppets set to match the axle stops, system pressure will not exceed required levels once the axle stop is reached, preventing steering system and vehicle damage.
So you can loosen the nut, and then you can either back this threaded plug-in in or out, and it'll allow more travel or less travel. And per spec, when you have it cranked all the way one way, you want it to be within 1/8 of an inch of the stop. So I'm by myself today, so we're gonna have to do this in a few iterations with just videotaping it, because I can't actually have the steering wheel turn all the way to one side and then measure that as well. So we'll try this with video and see if it works. So that last one looked like it was pretty close, like there was a bit of an air gap, but I'd still like to measure it at full crank, see, make sure they got 1/8 of an inch. So I was trying to think, what could I use? And then I thought, hey, I could put plumber's putty on there. Just like that. So now what'll happen is when I crank it all the way, it'll squeeze the putty, and we can measure it and take a direct measurement. All right, let's see what that looks like. Not bad, eh? That looks like about 1/4 of an inch. So what I'll probably do is turn that screw in just a touch. It's actually the top one. Turn it in just a touch until we get 1/8 of an inch on our putty. There you go, do it yourself. Back it out a touch more. Allow a little more travel on the piston, or something like that. We'll redo our putty. All right, try that. Something that I've been meaning to do for a while. This is from a previous episode when I installed this, and I don't know what I was thinking. I guess the cold was going to my brain, but I put the hand grips on the permanent spot, and the hand grips are supposed to be down by the glad hands. So we'll flip that. My very observant fans noticed that I had that backwards, and then I also had these lines I guessed wrong. So we'll flip the handles over, and we'll flip these guys around. And I'm going to move this a little further back because I don't want it to accidentally smack into the cab. And then I'm going to figure out a way to mount the deck plate permanently rather than just having it sit there. Now originally I was going to use these brackets, but then someone suggested, why don't you tie it into this rack, which I think makes a lot of sense, this pogo stick mount. So what I'll probably do is notch the diamond plate here. That way it could slide over, and then we'll drill through the deck plate and through this mount, and it'll be a nice solid mount at the front, and we'll drill holes in the back. So we'll go ahead and get that started. And then I finally got the gaskets, so we'll put the gaskets on the light. So little things that I've been meaning to get to, and now we've got time, so let's get it done. get the plate far enough forward, I'm actually gonna have to notch out for the pogo stick and the airlines so this thing can slide forward. And then I'll also have to notch this out slightly to drop it down so it's level. But I think that'll work okay. And then I'm starting to collect Milwaukee now. So my dad got me one of these for my birthday. So we'll give that a go and see how that works cutting this out. So I notched out those little corners, and I also nibbled out a little arc here so there's enough room for this guy to move. Let's see if this fits. Oh, look at that. Like it was meant to be on here. Oh good, it even fit under the lights for the trailer. Yeah, that looks really sharp. Okay, so now I just need to drill 4 holes, and I think we're gonna be in business. All right. Okay, so this is something I've been meaning to do for a while now. You'll recall I put these on in the winter without a gasket, and I figured I better get this done before the rains, spring rains start. Ring off because the gasket won't fit over the stainless ring. There it goes. Alright, so we're going to do double gaskets. The lady at Lesko suggested 2 is better than 1, and I think I see why. It's because one's only going to be the thickness of this lip, so you need a second one to actually press against the sleeper. Okay, I got some stainless steel screws. Let's see if we can line up the gaskets here. The last thing we want is water in the cab. I'm thinking I'm going to put some silicone, well not silicone, some gasket material. The same stuff I used on the sleeper boot, the 3M Super Weather Strip. I'm just going to put a little bit on the threads. All 3 screws. Nice and snug. That's what we like. Okay. Now we'll pop the light back in with the writing at the bottom and hopefully somewhat straight. Oh, come on. Without breaking it. There. Nice. Okay, do that 3 more times and you should be able to keep the water out. All good. The lights still work. So I think we're going to call that an episode. It's starting to snow. Only in Edmonton, Alberta do you get snow in late April. We got the airline straightened out. We got the deck plate bolted down. Reasonably clean install. Got the lights sealed up. And best of all, we beat the power steering. Little by little. What a treat. You can steer this thing with 1 finger now. Winning.
Court adjourned.